November 30th, 1939. The Soviet Union, the largest land army on Earth, marches toward a border defended by fewer than 3 million people. Stalin had already told his generals, 2 weeks, maybe less. A puppet communist government was already prepared to rule Finland. What happened next became one of the strangest chapters of the 20th century. Finland versus the Soviet Union. 3 million people against 170 million. The Red Army rolled in with 4,000 tanks. Finland had almost none. Soviet aircraft blanketed the sky. Finland had a few dozen aging planes. By every military measure, this war should have been over in days. But the Finns changed the rules of the game. They turned forest, snow, and -40-degree cold into weapons. Ski-mounted Finnish soldiers moved silently through the trees, cut Soviet armored columns to pieces, and vanished back into the dark. A tactic called Motti, surrounding and isolating enemy columns in the freezing wilderness, became the Red Army's worst nightmare. At the Battle of Suomussalmi, a single Finnish division destroyed 2 entire Soviet divisions. Many Soviet soldiers died from extreme cold, exposure, and inadequate winter equipment, in addition to combat losses. Photographs of Soviet troops standing dead, frozen exactly in the position they fell, became one of the defining images of the war. Suddenly, the whole world was watching this small war in the north. Western newspapers wrote about the Finnish miracle. Volunteers poured in from Sweden, even from America. The Soviet Union, the superpower meant to terrify the world, was exposing its own military weakness in front of everyone, beaten back by a country a fraction of its size. But real war, unlike legend, obeys one simple law: unlimited resources eventually win. The Soviets changed strategy. Heavy artillery, fresh troops, and relentless pressure replaced their early, clumsy tactics. The Mannerheim Line, the defense Finns had taken such pride in, finally broke. In March 1940, Finland was forced to sign for peace. The country lost over 10% of its territory, including its second-largest city, Viipuri, permanently. More than 400,000 Finns were forced to abandon their homes. Militarily and territorially, Finland was forced to accept a painful peace. So why is it Finland, not the Soviet Union, that's remembered today as the hero of the Winter War? Because in war, sometimes the story outlasts the map. The Soviets, despite overwhelming superiority, were forced to fight for months, lose tens of thousands of men, and expose their military weakness to the entire world. A weakness so glaring that even Hitler took note of it, and it shaped his decision to invade the USSR the following year. Finland, meanwhile, kept its independence. It was never occupied, and in the world's collective memory, it wasn't recorded as the loser. It became the small nation that stood up to a giant. The Soviet Union achieved its military objectives. Yet today, when people remember the Winter War, they usually remember one thing: not the land that was lost, but the small nation that refused to surrender. So, who really won?